Dear students, today as part of our paper personality development, we are going to deal about the common mistakes people commit while negotiating. So, in the previous classes, we have dealt elaborately about various stages of negotiation. If negotiation fails or if negotiation does not at all take place, people tend to enter into a conflict zone. So, avoiding conflict is the purpose of human life, and more so in the 20th century and also in 21st century. There are problems from the low level to the topmost level, and all of these have to be resolved through a systematic negotiation. And if people they deliberately make some mistakes, then this process of negotiation tend to fail, and therefore it is very important to avoid such mistakes and make the negotiation process a successful one. And it is the responsibility of the persons who are involved in the negotiation to possess as and such skills to avoid these mistakes and make the negotiation process a successful one. So, in this lecture, I would like to draw examples from the diplomatic mission of our External Affairs Minister Jaishankar. So, let it be there, and the first mistake rendered by people who enter into negotiation is lacking in confidence. So, I bring here the example of Jaishankar because when he accuses some country of some mistakes, then he does not make such accusation without adequate evidence. He makes every argument with adequate support and information at hand. So, this information base and evidence it gives him enormous strength and confidence. So, confidence is at most important, and lacking in confidence will end up the entire process of negotiation into a failure. So, officers who are committed into this kind of negotiation, they are given a common type of a dress code, and predominantly they wear suits and enter into negotiation, and these suits worn by all these people give an understanding that they are all equals by skill and efficiency. So their confidence level should be at the equal level. An Indian officer who is from a third world country and representing a third world economy, and he happens to encounter a developed country's official, and then if he is overstruck by awe, then his confidence level may go down, and the negotiation process will be to the advantage of the developed country's representative. And therefore, maintaining a swift confidence and continuous maintenance of such confidence alone will give good results to the person who is representing the third world country. So, as far as this example of Mr. Jaishankar is concerned, in no way he gives any suggestion of he is coming from a third world country, because he is a man of high scholarship. He is the brother of great historian Sanjay Subramanian, and his father Subramanian is the founder of Indian Diplomatic and Strategic Analysis Institution, which is a premier institution in New Delhi. So the foundation is laid by his family itself, and therefore his confidence level is higher, and his complete profile is marked by honesty and excellence. Moreover, he was trained in the Indian Foreign Service, so his confidence level has been always high, although he maintains his cool thoroughly whenever he speaks in the media or in the forum of diplomats. The second mistake is thinking something is non-negotiable. So, as far as Mr. Jaishankar is concerned, his very appearance and his body language shows that every single thing that has been thought to be highly problematic and worrisome is deemed to be negotiable. Particularly, Indian country is concerned, they have very high confidence in negotiation, and therefore, whatever problem that comes from any direction, they immediately call for a negotiation before taking into arms, like other countries. So, this negotiation or faith in negotiation has made this country a peaceful one. Otherwise, there would have been several wars and peacelessness in various quarters, and the economy would have been largely ruined. So, to maintain peace, it is very important to follow the third step, that is building relationship. So, not building of relationship will spoil the negotiation. So, there are various stages in the diplomatic arena also, and they build relationship at various levels. So, diplomatically, they term it into track 1, track 2, and track 3 diplomacy. In track 3, there is a relationship between scholars, and they try to understand the civil society of that country or this country, and try to mutually appreciate one another's contribution for the enrichment of such lifestyles. This mutual appreciation is capitalized by the officers who operate in the second track, and they expand this goodwill and understanding. This in turn will facilitate the track 1 process, which is being dominated by the political community or the cabinet level officers and ministers. So, you might have seen in media that the Chinese president visiting Chennai and negotiating with Prime Minister Modi, and similarly Prime Minister or President of Pakistan coming and meeting our people, President of United States of America coming, or our Prime Minister visiting that country and expanding this goodwill has been predominantly reported in media. These are only some evidence or some gesture of goodwill establishment between several countries. There are also forums like ASEAN, SAARC, and so on and so forth to establish this relationship, and people, they look into the merit of issues and they try to avoid conflict between nations. The fourth important mistake that is committed by people in negotiation process is not to clearly ask for what they want. So, you take for example, if Mr. Jaishankar is going to deal with the Kashmir issue, so they cannot go and start discussing with conducting a referendum, because it is a very long process to arrive at such a solution. But what they can speak is about reducing escalation of tension or reducing the strength of army on the both sides, and so on and so forth. These types of mistakes occur because the planning is not done well. So, planning has to be previously made very deeply and intellectually, and then it should be brought at the right time in the negotiation table, or otherwise the opposite side will capitalize on our weakness and they will tend to establish their view and successfully receive that. It is in view of such skills Mr. Jaishankar has been formally invited to take the position of the External Affairs Minister, because he has a high profile before assuming this office of the Cabinet Minister of External Affairs, and therefore he is known for such skills. So, an elaborate planning and strategically executing is very important for a negotiator, and such a negotiator will not think that the pie is fixed. So, in the earlier classes I have said that there are 360 degrees in a round or circle, and people tend to think only 90% advantage we have, so there are 4 equal shares, and so on and so forth. They imagine like that, but a diplomat, he uses his skill and gradually takes an advantage of 10 degrees and so on, and he gradually grabs his share, which may be becoming a lion's one in subsequent stages. It is also important to watch what your opponent is doing. So his moves has to be cautiously approached, particularly when negotiating in a cross cultural table. You should not think that it is like another table which you tend to face at the local level. So it is very different, and you have to give adequate attention for your opponents also, and he should not be under the impression that you are deceiving or you are taking undue advantage. These types of impressions are given in the mind of the opponent because some of the negotiator tend to give too much of his opinion and talks too much. So hitting the bullseye should be the purpose. So what you want and what you need to say in 40 words, if at all it is possible to say in 4 words, you have to do that. At this stage it is very important also to remember that you should try to take offending stance when situation requires, because if you are too much of defensive, then your opposite side may take undue advantage of that also, and your particular position will tend to fail. Some people tend to think that offending is shouting or extremely crying out with unacceptable body language. It is not like that. You can offend just by saying a no or just by nodding also, because one thing you should remember is the grammar of such a negotiation is you have the freedom to express whatever you want to say. Even in a parliament, if a member says something which is objectionable, it is only the duty of the speaker to question that, and even court cannot question the member. So he has every liberty to speak his opinion. Similarly, in most of the negotiations, when you are empowered or when you are given representation, then you can make your point very clear and you can offend whenever it is essential. A good negotiation should also follow with good documentation. So whatever you have discussed, you should be able to clearly record it by writing. So this, in official terms, they call minutes. So they write these minutes, and before signing the minutes, you have to go through and see whether all of the points which have been discussed by you and other members have been sufficiently recorded in the minutes. So if an objectionable point is being recorded in the minutes, then you can register your dissent by signing there also, saying that I dissent. If you do not register your dissent in the minutes notebook, then you cannot defend yourself from other allegations that may follow in the future. So you have to deliberately and carefully read the records made in the notes book or in the minutes book. So patience has to be maintained. So people say caving in too quickly. So hurriedly completing a particular negotiation and trying to concentrate on some other issues is a pitfall which should be avoided by the negotiators. Once after every document has been clearly recorded, you have to thoroughly read that and sign after that, and you should also check whether other parties have duly signed the relevant columns with their initials and also date. Particularly this is very important in camera meetings. Many people think that in camera meeting is a meeting that is recorded in camera. It is not like that. A secret meeting is called in camera meeting. So in secret meetings, then you have to essentially check these members of the meeting writing or signing the adequate column properly with date. So with the above lecture, you must have now come to a very good conclusion that a negotiator should have a very good communication skill. Without communication skill of balancing various ideas and various people, one cannot enter into a negotiation and conclude that in a successful way. And therefore, a communication skill is also very important for a negotiator. Usually, in negotiation table, people who are proficient in the field of law, they occupy the chairs, and they have adequate training in negotiation, and therefore they make successful negotiation processes, and they try to avoid the mistakes in negotiation process. So I have outlined 7 important mistakes that are committed in the negotiation process. With this, I intend to conclude my lecture on common mistakes in negotiation process. Thank you very much.